infinite happiness. Happy, love, everywhere, in yourself and outside, to the same degree and intensity. Externally and internally just the same. Which doesn't even have to indicate, enlightenment. It indicates feeling at least the bare minimum of blissful life, or ananda. The anandamaya kosha. Feeling that I am bliss. Cosmic bliss. That would be the anandamaya kosha. Before then, it's philosophy and experiential change and expansion of consciousness and disappearance of what you call to be yourself, because you're letting your old concepts of mind go that hold on to the idea and feeling of self. When you go through the Vijnanamaya kosha, you're dropping your whole sense of self. But your sense of self will be, related to energy and consciousness, growth, movement, expansion as you know it, and the normal mind, and your normal emotional range, and your body, and your life, and your relationships, and your jobs, and everything you've ever been a part of. All that has to be dropped to give birth to, which is like a glowing light and radiance that just comes forth from where? From you. You have to drop that to feel that glow, that arising light, that intensity, that warmth, that thorough pervasiveness of your own spirit. Not someone else's spirit, your own self. But you have to drop the rest. That's the death of you. You have to drop what's not you to become you. You're not actually going to die, but every concept that you feel you are, and when I say concept too, by the way, just to clarify, a lot of people think I'm talking about just thoughts in your mind. I'm talking about the you as a concept. And when you change in consciousness and you become even as big as the cosmos, but you still feel you, that's a concept. That's what I mean by concept. Because your real mind isn't this thing. Your real mind is this mind, the cosmic mind. So when I talk about concept, what I mean is your experience of self through every single level of consciousness and expansion, growth, movement, dissolution. All of that is concept to me. So when I say concept, that's what I'm referring to. I haven't been clear on that in a while. I feel like everyone's been getting a wrong idea. So I figured I should point it out again. So basically, feel yourself 100%. All that you feel, that's a concept. So just to be clear, anytime I use that in the future, because I was once told I didn't have to always clarify myself. What I find is that if I don't clarify myself every single time, it gets forgotten, or at least every other time. Sometimes I'll just drop it, part of the expressing or the teaching, and then 2 years later I have to explain it again. It's like everyone's completely forgotten it. Because that's what spiritual teachings are. They're repetitive. But each time coming from a little bit different angle, and each time when you're in a different consciousness, more evolved, it hits you different. It feels different. And according to the quality of energy that's a part of the holiday or the day or the satsang or whatever it may be, you get a different sense about it. And you think differently. You say, oh, this is different than I imagined it would be. This is different than I thought. So, and that's the beauty of satsang. It's never the same twice. So when you treat satsang as something that is just an event and it happens whenever, you're not understanding satsang. It's a dissolution process. If you like the other term, the additive, it's an expansion process. Satsang is here to either A, if you're more part of Advaita, it's dissolving you. If you're more of a part of Dvaita, seeing yourself as the cosmic whole, then it's expanding you. It's making you become everything. That's what satsang is. It's the fuel, the joy, the love, the goodness of your life. You're accessing goodness without needing things. This whole world tells you need things to feel happy and have a good life. There's even a brand that basically tells you life is good. You buy their stuff. TV, refrigerator, life is good. Probably that needs to be edited. They probably won't be happy, but it's the truth. It's not their problem. They're believing what you guys believe, that you need things to have a good life. Satsang is different. It's the spiritual tradition that tells you you don't need any of these things to be happy. And if you're not happy when you let go of things, it means you don't understand that principle. And you might say, well, I've been contemplating this for 1 full decade. How could I not understand it? Well, you just don't understand it. I don't know what else to say. If you don't understand it in 2 full decades, well, you just don't understand it. Can you understand it faster? Is there a timetable? Is it going to take you forever? No, it actually takes you whenever you've decided you want to understand this and you're ready to live a life that is congruent to your decision, you will understand and experience it. But if you choose to live a life out of congruency with your philosophy that you say you believe in, you're prolonging your own misery. You're prolonging the path. A lot of people say, this is normal. You have to be on the path for a while. But usually, sometimes in the beginning, people just be fed up with the idea of how long it will take for enlightenment and they give up before they start. But a lot of people get fed up with the length of a path. Here's the thing, there's no length of a path. You know, even if you believe you have a ton of karma to pay off, and you're never going to make it in this lifetime, you have to look to stories of prisoners or murderers who actually found enlightenment and became the saint of that tradition within this lifetime, and sometimes within 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. So if you're not murdering people, and by the way, this doesn't give some full credibility. You can go out now knowing this and go murder. Actually, that karma is way worse when you know. You can get out, you don't get out usually within a long time. You have to hear of this after, not prior and then premeditate a murder. It doesn't work like this. That's pretty sick thinking. And that way you're cursing yourself. You're probably not going to find God within the lifetime because of your own way of being. But once you've transformed, you've transformed. So if you've done your past, whatever it may be, and you're an idiot, you say, I've been an idiot, and now I see the way to serve others and to know the truth and to bring joy and goodness, infinite springtime to everyone. Help change and resurrect all souls, bring them all out of the darkness, bring them all out of the unconscious or unconscious, I guess both, but bring them into something greater. Then you really live your life for others. You still have quite a bit of a payload to work off. You have a lot of karma to work out if you've done things after knowing you can do this, and then you do your bad things, and then you go try to forgive yourself. It doesn't work like that. You can't outwit God, right? You cannot outwit the game that built you from the inside out. So wipe that off the record and say, once you hear of the possibility of enlightenment, then you need to live as cleanly as you can towards the aim. Everything you do that lives out of congruency with this is getting in your way and prolonging your path. You are choosing to make yourself live in an infinite winter or an infinite fall, hoping spring will come, but not allowing it to, because you keep on doing things that make you fall. You need to change your way of thinking. And once you really change your way of thinking, your path can be quick. And if you haven't done anything disastrous or negative, and you've been on the path for a decade or 2 or 3 or 4, and you haven't reached the supreme infinite abode, you do have to look at your life. You'll probably find, if you're dead honest with yourself, the way that you live is not congruent with what you say your belief is for enlightenment. It's good to know that, because if you don't know that, you play a game with yourself, and who loses is you, right? And at the end, the beauty of it is that you'll blame everyone else. You'll blame teachers of the past, and retreats you went to, and seminars you signed up for, and everything you registered for, and even charities you gave money to, all become a problem because somehow you didn't make it. But you're supposed to be giving and loving as a basic staple of being a human being, because what kind of a human would I be if I didn't love and care for and give to others? If I didn't naturally want to protect and care for, what kind of a human would I be? You're getting more into psychopath, sociopath type range. Someone who's very disconnected. Clearly it can be less negative, but I'm just going to more of an extreme side. Both very different levels, psychopath being very, much on the bottom, has no care about anyone, doesn't even understand the concept of care. Sociopath cares for themselves so much they don't know what it really is to care for others. Maybe 1 or 2 beings they had some care for, but they have a hard time. And then there's the range where it's just emotionally kind of broken. And they do care for things, but it's so clingy and graspy and so stuck in things that they just don't know what clean caring is. It's manipulative caring, which isn't very caring in some strange way, even though they feel like it's very caring. You know, free love, free care. Like, you don't want anything back. Like, when you really have a child and you really love your child fully, you don't want them to do something for you to prove their love. Like, you know, our little animal, that's our child. We don't expect him to do anything, you know, and he's loved as he is. When you know, buy a pet, that's your chance. If you have a child, that's your chance. When you have a friend, that's your chance. You have a chance to love something so perfectly. Don't require anything. It's very hard. For some people, it's very hard, especially if you have a child and they're less able to be controlled than your pet, for instance. Some pets. I've had a lot over my life. But you have to be willing to break down your own barriers to get on to some other level, to love so profoundly, so, you know, pervasively. You have an opportunity to love. You have an opportunity. This life is an opportunity to love, to give, to care, to not want anything in return, to serve, you know, divinity. That doesn't mean you find a pulpit and start preaching or something. That's not serving divinity. Many times that's just business, to be quite honest. You find purity, you find honesty, you find virtue, you find what really makes a matter to live for. What are the principles that you live for and you support? And not just theory. What do you actually live for? There are people who live just to be happy and make others happy and just spread what they don't understand in their mind. They have no idea, other than just everyone being happy. They don't understand what it means to live in a different way. You want to be broken in a way to live the other side. You want to just be positive, and it's like being an eternal optimist, eternal sunshine, eternal springtime. The temperature is beautiful, you know, the breeze is beautiful, the greenery is beautiful, the flowers are beautiful, the sunshine is beautiful, the moonlight is beautiful, the day is beautiful, the people are beautiful, the neighbors are beautiful, you know, the elements are so beautiful, your own being is beautiful, everyone else around you is so beautiful, everything and everyone is beautiful together. That's living more of a divine life.